Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Febreze.
Fabric Talk. Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week. Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
It's the only punishment here.
Coming this February, FX's Shogun.
My master asks what you seek here.
To vanquish our common enemies.
Based on the global bestseller by James Clavell.
War is coming.
The epic saga of war, passion, and power.
Magic come.
FX's Shogun, February 27th on Hulu.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Happy Friday. It's the Kinner Kev Show here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Justin Kinner with you here, going solo again. Kev Nash in Vegas. We have a ton to dive into. A lot of Ohio State news today. College basketball, Wright State, we get to win last night. Dayton back in action tonight, taking on VCU. So we'll talk some college hoops around the corner. Bill O'Brien out, Chip Kelly to the Buckeyes. I mean, what in the world is happening? A lot of moving parts here on a Friday. And luckily we have a couple hours to be able to dive into all of this. Again, hope everyone's had a great week. We wrap up the week here with a lot of stuff to open up the show with. So let's see. David Shaw says, holy Chip Kelly. Let's make sure there we go. Holy Chip Kelly. Keith Bond says, great teams always prevail over 0-25 teams. Man, let's see. We made it a whole 90 seconds into the show. Didn't even wait. Nail biter over at the Nutter Center last night. Okay, I mean, my goodness. I feel like you and a certain father-son combo, Keith, have kind of been talking off to the side. Something just tells me tag team effort over here on your trolling efforts. But a win is a win. Isn't that what you guys always say when you barely beat LaSalle? Isn't that what you guys, you've had some bad losses over the years. I mean, let's just be clear here. But anyways, we got Super Bowl to talk about coming up. Am I wrong in saying this, by the way, that the build-up, and maybe it's our responsibility, being sports talk show and all, to build up the hype for a Super Bowl, but is the hype for this Super Bowl just not seem to be there? Am I wrong in that? Is anyone else? I'm excited for the Super Bowl because it's the Super Bowl. And I think as we kind of wrap up the week, we wrap up our work day today, we'll head into the weekend and really start to get amped up for what our Super Bowl plans are. But you know what I mean? Like, is anyone else notice that the vibe of the build to this Super Bowl is just not there? You have the dynasty that is the Kansas City Chiefs there. You know what I mean? Like, you would think that there'd be a bigger game buzz or a bigger game feel. It is the San Francisco 49ers. If it wasn't for injuries last year, they would probably get to the Super Bowl last year. You know what I mean? It's just kind of one of those things that I don't know. I don't know. I know for me personally, I just don't feel that amped up energy for the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. But then again, it's my responsibility, I guess, to make you guys be excited. I don't know. Ryan Strong says this Super Bowl sucks. Why is that? So, the theory, and I think the theory, I felt like this last year a little bit too, the rival of the team here that the majority of you follow, the Cincinnati Bengals, is it the fact that that's a team that you despise and hate? So just hearing about them in the Super Bowl, it just makes you want to just kind of turn your attention elsewhere. What is it? You say, Ryan, I think you're a Bengals fan, right? Do you say the Super Bowl sucks? Why is that? I felt that way last year too, because, the Bengals lose a close one in the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So any Super Bowl coverage, it just makes your stomach turn because you felt your team was better. You felt your team should have been back in the Super Bowl. So it was just kind of one of those types of things too. Like maybe that's what led to not being interested in last year's. But yeah, there's just something wild. You have Patrick Mahomes, you have Travis Kelce, you have the Taylor Swift effect going on in there. You have the San Francisco 49ers. There's a lot of moving parts here. I just don't understand why people seem to be so far down on this Super Bowl despite all the coverage that's going on. I mean, tickets are through the roof. I think Darren Rovell said that the average ticket price, a lot of people will wait for the price, or they'll wait till the day of the Super Bowl before they actually get their tickets because the price will plummet. And that's not the case. The day before the Super Bowl, they've actually gone up. They were down in the 7,000s yesterday. They are in the 8,000s again today. And we're talking for the cheaper for the higher up seats, if you will. Nothing cheap about these, no doubt about it. But nonetheless, all right. It's a Kinner Kev Show here on a Friday. Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. All right. Top of the hour headlines. We kick it off here. Ryan Strong, he responded, by the way. He said, I wish the Lions were in the Super Bowl. Timmy, what up, Timmy? Timmy Hockett says, I think the Cincinnati Bengals will be back in the playoffs next year. I mean, I don't think that's a hot take. I think that they should have been in the playoffs this year, but injuries obviously derailed them, no doubt about it. All right, top of the hour headlines. Let's get to it. How about this? The Dallas Cowboys, there was rumors of them being really interested in Rex Ryan to make him their next defensive coordinator. Well, they found their defensive coordinator. It is not Rex Ryan. It is Mike Zimmer. How about that? The Cowboys are hiring former Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer to be their new defensive coordinator. This was announced, later in the evening yesterday, of course. And I really like this move. I think the thing about Mike Zimmer as the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy, his seat is always hot. I mean, they win 13 games every year. They've won the division multiple times. One of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. But they still just keep coming up short. I really do. I like Dan Quinn, but I really like Mike Zimmer. I would have been a huge fan of them getting Rex Ryan, but I still think that this is a really good move. With the hot seat that Mike McCarthy always seems to be on, it would not surprise me if things don't go well, unless they're hoisting up Lombardi at the end of next season. I could see Mike Zimmer being a potential head coaching candidate for the Dallas Cowboys here in the very near future, no doubt about it. All right, next up, top of the hour headlines. The Cleveland Cavaliers continue their hot streak. They've officially won 16 of their last 17 games, and they've been a top 5 offense and defense in the NBA during this stretch. The Cavs did decide not to make a move at yesterday's NBA trade deadline. They feel good about this roster heading into the back half of this season. I know Kevin and I talked about this earlier in the week. My only concern with this is, if you are you're playing really good basketball right now, but I think the reason, and a lot of Cavs fans are complaining because local national media is not really jumping on and grasping onto this team. And I think the reason is because I still think that, people are still trying to decipher, is this a team that is winning because that's who they are? Or is this team dominating right now because they're on just one of those kind of rare hot streaks, those occasional hot streaks that you get on? That's what the Cavs had to have been careful with. They truly felt like the run that they're on is sustainable. They truly felt that the talent that they have on this roster, that this isn't just a hot streak, that this is them playing up to their expectations. They decided not to make a move. We'll see if that ends up working out for them, big picture, when it's all said and done. All right, next up, Wright State's Trey Calvin scored 18 points last night in the Raiders' win over Detroit at the Nutter Center. He went into the game 6 points shy of 2,000 career points, and he surpassed the 2,000-point marker in the first half. Tanner Holden will have a chance to do the same thing tomorrow night with Oakland coming to town. He is 16 points shy of career point number 2,000. He averages 16 on the season, so pretty good chance that he'll be able to accomplish that feat and that milestone coming up tomorrow night. And we'll get into the college basketball stuff. Yes, people love giving me a bunch of smoke because they struggled to beat Detroit, who was 0-24, now 0-25. We'll get to that coming up here in just a little bit. The Dayton Flyers back in action coming up here later on tonight, 7 o'clock the tip-off. They'll be taking on VCU. Dayton sitting atop the A-10 standings, 19-3 overall, 9-1 in A-10 play. They were able to shake off that horrible first half against St. Joe's earlier in the week with that dominating second half. They're looking to take that momentum or keep that momentum with them. Another tough one on the road here against a very good VCU team. They're 7-3 in A-10 play. They're 4th in the A-10 right now, but again, more tough road games for the Flyers. How will they prevail? We'll find out later on tonight. Richmond, 2nd in the A-10. They're 8-1 in conference play. Dayton ahead of them right now just because they've played that additional game, have that additional win. But Richmond would hold that tiebreaker because of the win that they have over the Flyers from earlier in the season. How about Loyola, by the way? Loyola, I liked that addition to the A-10 when that was announced, last year. And I remember Loyola obviously was not very good last season, but they've done a very good job of really kind of integrating themselves in the conference. They're sitting 3rd. They're ahead of VCU in the standings. They're 8-2 right now, only a game behind Dayton and Richmond. They're at the top. Look out for Loyola again. They've recently been to a Final Four. They've recently been to a national championship game. So it's interesting seeing how it's taken them very little time to get, situated in the A-10. All right, I know this is the news that everyone really wanted to kind of dive into a little bit. It caught everyone's attention, especially last week when there were talks of Bill O'Brien's run as Ohio State offensive coordinator. There was talks of it being done before it even got started. And that ends up being the case. Hafley ends up taking the defensive coordinator position for the Green Bay Packers. And, of course, that opened up a head coaching opportunity for Boston College, which is where Bill O'Brien is from. Bill O'Brien is now the new head coach at Boston College, and that, of course, put Ohio State and Ryan Day in a situation where they had to move quickly. They had to decide what they were going to do. Well, it sounds like reports are Chip Kelly is going to be the guy. Chip Kelly, the head coach of the UCLA Bruins. Say what you want, but my goodness, Ohio State is such a dominant program that being a coordinator for the Buckeyes is a bigger and better opportunity than being a head coach of a Big Ten team. That's how massive Ohio State is. If the optics of this are very weird. The optics of this are very, very strange as far as that's concerned. You have UCLA who's entering the Big Ten this upcoming season, Chip Kelly. And again, I don't know if it's finalized. I'm seeing reports are he's, the favorite to land it. So until I see it's final, a done deal, I'll kind of tiptoe around the wording of this. But man, oh man, that is a huge move for Ohio State. And if anything, I like the Bill O'Brien edition originally. I'm not bummed that he's leaving because I don't think he was around long enough to make a significant impact, but his departure opens the door for Chip Kelly to be added to the fold. Chip Kelly running this offense. By the way, keep in mind, if things go poorly for the Buckeyes in 2024, and I do not anticipate that to be the case, but Chip Kelly is the kind of veteran name that right place, right time. You never know. Things don't work out with Ryan Day. It would not surprise me one bit to see Chip Kelly be slid into that head coaching spot for the Scarlet and Gray. Now, again, I'm hoping we don't have to have that discussion. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hoping that that's something that we don't even have to talk about in the near future. But at the end of the day, Chip Kelly is a huge addition for Ohio State, especially calling that offense. And, of course, there is connections. There is, some history between Ryan Day and Chip Kelly. Ryan Day playing for Chip Kelly back in the day. Pretty unique as far as that's concerned. Ryan Day played for Chip Kelly at New Hampshire and worked under Kelly at several different stops as far as that's concerned. So, nonetheless, Johnny Ortez, hello. Can we talk about that tough game at the Nutter Center? 0-25 gave your team a nail biter. Man, I mean, Johnny, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell another individual. If you're going to talk smack, you got to at least make sure your spelling and punctuation is correct. Come on, Johnny, you're better than that. Nonetheless, what up, Brad? Brad says, wonder if Chip sees the writing on the wall for Ryan Day. I don't know if that I do think that their relationship is one reason that this makes sense. And I don't think he's going to take a pay cut to be the OC at Ohio State versus the head coach at UCLA. I think that he sees the writing on the wall, but I don't know if it's about the career or future of Ryan Day. I think it's about his future. I think that Chip Kelly is a very, very good head coach, but I think that there are a ton of limitations for UCLA, even them being, a West Coast team, even though you think they're from California, you think that they would kind of have a ton of NIL opportunities and you read about the struggles that athletics department is having over there, I think this is let's jump off the Titanic before it sinks and plunges to the bottom. I think that that just might be an opportunity that presents itself later. But I think this is about Chip Kelly going to Ohio State, taking advantage of the dynamic offense that they have and the weapons that they have, and maybe propping him up to take a big-time head coaching gig next season of, kind of feeding off the success that he's going to potentially have with the Buckeyes offense this upcoming year. Or if things don't go well, he could potentially be a guy that has slid right into the head coaching slot if the Buckeyes have to move on from Ryan Day. So there you go. All right, it's the Kinner Kev Show here on a Friday. Opening headlines here as we kick off the show here today. Let's talk about this Chip Kelly move. I'm fascinated by it. I think this is huge. I like the Bill O'Brien addition because of the veteran presence that he would have and his experience with the play calling to take those responsibilities off the lap of Ryan Day. But I think that this one's even better. I think Chip Kelly's even better. I think that this is a huge opportunity for Chip Kelly when it's all said and done, and a huge get for the Buckeyes, no doubt about it. We got some Cleveland Browns stuff to talk about around the corner. A lot of drama at last night's awards ceremony for the NFL regular season awards. How about TJ Watt acting like a gigantic crybaby, as if I needed another reason to hate that loser? I mean, my gosh. TJ Watt is what a coward. First of all, first of all, he basically let the whole entire world know that he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year. So it kind of took, it took attention away from Myles Garrett. Coward for that. He's a coward because he didn't have the balls to show up to the award. He's a coward for that. And then trying to be the victim in this. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's not like you lost it to a scrub. Myles Garrett got the trophy. A boo-hoo. I mean, my gosh, the Steelers, the most arrogant franchise out there, in just the most trash player in TJ Watt. I have my new least favorite player in the league. I wish Kev was here. I can't wait to tell Kev when he gets back that I have a new least favorite player in the league, and that trash ball TJ Watt. Get out of here with that mess, man. Like, I knew it was close. It wouldn't have surprised me if Watt would have came away with it. But to act like a crybaby, to act like a coward, to act like a trash ball like that, TJ Watt, get out of here. I hope you never win that award moving forward. I will never root against a player more intense than what I am going to do against that trash ball moving forward. I promise you that much. It's the Kinner and Kev Show here on a Friday. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast is calling for a slight chance of showers and 52 tonight. Rain and then partly sunny by afternoon, 59 Saturday. Mostly sunny Sunday and 49. I'm Rick Schrepp, 1410 ESPN Radio.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Do you have an oak tree in your yard? The Ohio Chapter International Society of Arboriculture is committed to advancing responsible tree care practices while preventing a fungal disease called oak wilt. They remind those who own and manage oak trees the best time to prune is November to early March. To find out more, there are over 1,000 qualified tree experts in Ohio. To find an ISA-certified arborist in your area, visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
I'm Chelsea, and a little thing I like about the Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is I think it's just a perfect combination of ingredients. The pepper jack cheese and that spiciness of the sandwich. It's the right type of spice and the right amount of spice. It's crunchy on the outside, but then really tender on the inside. And then obviously the pickles on the bottom are iconic. There are too many things I like about it. I don't know if I can finish the thought.
Bring on the spice and order the Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits, Submarine House.
This is Keith Byers for Superbook Sports. You spend valuable time thinking about which bets to place each week. So why wouldn't you want the best company in the business to be the one who handles those bets? Superbook Sports is the most trusted name in Las Vegas, and it's now live right here in Ohio for all your sports wagering needs. Superbook has a team of dedicated odds makers behind the counter in Las Vegas setting all the prices. We're talking about guys with decades of experience showing you why Superbook has the best odds around. And right now, you can look ahead to hockey and hoops postseason and place a bet on who you think will take home the title. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-589-9966. Call 1-800-589-9966. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-589-9966. Call 1-800-589-9966.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
What could you make possible as an organ, eye, and tissue donor? Leave behind the gift of life. Go to organdonor.gov. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
All right, and we are back. It's the Kinner and Kev Show here on a Friday. Going solo, Kev Nash at the Super Bowl. He's in Vegas. And we're here. Actually, there's really not that bad. It's beautiful out. In fact, I'm only mad at myself because I'm not out golfing today. In fact, I went and had lunch with my friend Brad. Brad, I don't know why the hell we didn't just go golf. I have some sick days. I could have used some sick days. Speaking of sick, I was sick looking at the crybaby TJ Watt make a fool of himself on social media yesterday. Throwing a temper tantrum. I mean, I almost feel like he played at Florida State with the temper tantrum he threw. I don't get my way. I'm going to make everyone else's life miserable. Who gives a rip, right? Like that. That's the entitled brat that is TJ Watt is absolutely insane. But the fact that the dude had the nerve when he must have known ahead of time. For one, he was throwing a little crybaby fit and didn't go to the awards ceremony. Okay, so there's that. Strike one. Strike two was the fact that he sends out a tweet about an hour before the ceremony starts, basically just signifying that he is not going to win the award, which basically just meant that Myles Garrett was going to get it. So there was no surprise element. I think everyone was not surprised when Myles ended up getting it because of that, and all this. And the talking points weren't about Myles winning it. The talking points wasn't about the other guys who were up for the award. It was all about the soft crybaby feelings of TJ Watt. I told you I'm a new least favorite player. I've lost all respect for the dude. I don't care. I can't stand how entitled he is. I mean, that's just coward behavior. Absolutely insane. And I really don't care how many Steeler fans get their little feelings hurt. I know that's the only thing. I mean, my gosh, it's just insane to me how this is being really, I mean, and what I love too, Micah Parsons, who really had a good opportunity to win this award as well, he didn't throw a little temper tantrum for not winning it. In fact, as people were basically just burying Myles Garrett and burying the whole process of voting for Defensive Player of the Year, imagine looking at this, the stats that were up on the page. Imagine looking at this and giving the guy on the left the awards because he's never won it. Micah Parsons comes in. Myles was the better player. That's the reality of the situation, according to Micah Parsons on Twitter. Myles faced way more double teams and effect on quarterbacks. Fans, please stop looking at stats and look at film, please. Last night, Myles Garrett, most dominating defensive player in the NFL. Doesn't mean that everyone else is ass. It doesn't mean that everyone else is bad. It doesn't mean that that TJ Watt was horrible. I mean, the fact that it was so close just tells you how dominant Myles Garrett and TJ Watt both are. I mean, that's what's insane about this whole thing. So Justin Smith, who's a Steelers fan, he puts the laughing emoji, says, "This is the dumbest shit you've ever said on your show as long as I've been listening. TJ has played now. He's got played now twice for the award when he had better numbers. He had to tie the all-time sacks record. This isn't a sacks award, dude. Like, stop it. This isn't just about sacks. I mean, look, I watched a lot of Steelers games this year. I watch a lot of AFC North football. Those are I mean, I make sure when the Browns are on, I'm watching the Bengals, I'm watching the Steelers, I'm watching the Ravens. TJ Watt's really freaking good. Myles Garrett was just better. It's as simple as that. I don't care. Yes, he had more sacks, and you're going to cherry pick off of those stuff, but look at the impact that Myles has on the game. TJ Watt makes impact too, but Myles Garrett was just better. I mean, I don't understand why this is like such a hot take. My only hot take that you could be upset with is that I'm trashing your trash ball player and TJ Watt because he has a poor attitude, but that's messed up. He is officially, he's garbage to me now. TJ Watt, no respect for the dude, an entitled brat is all he is. And now I needed more reasons to hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. So there you go. But absolutely wild to me. And then because now Justin has me all fired up. Okay. No, he has more. Look at the other stats. I didn't say it was a sack award. He beat or tied Garrett in all the other stats and all that stats. You just keep saying stats. The thing is, outside of Pittsburgh, crybabies, Pittsburgh Steeler fans, no one else is really upset about Myles Garrett winning this award. I mean, that's why I'm not going to really allowed to go too far deep in the weeds on this. You're defending your dude. That's fine. He's a crybaby. He's a coward. He didn't even show up to the show. Oh, if I'm not winning the award, I'm just not going to show up. Cool. Super. Sit at home, pout, be an entitled billionaire, millionaire, whatever the hell you are. And whatever is what it is. But no, not a fan of him whatsoever. Matt Sturgeon. What up, Matt? Myles Garrett was absolutely the best defensive player this year, period. I'm saying I can't stand TJ Watt while acknowledging how freaking good he is. He is a big-time difference maker. He beat the Browns by himself back in week 2. I was furious. I watched him do it. I also watched Myles Garrett be the best defensive player in the league on the best defense in the league. So there's a lot that goes into it too. Being dominant on a dominant defensive side of the ball, that definitely says something because his presence on the field matters, just like TJ Watt's. That's the thing. Every time these types of things happen, like when, for instance, All-Star awards the All-Star rosters come out. I can't believe he made it. Okay, well, or I can't believe he didn't make it. Well, then who should he be in over? And no one usually has any good response for that. That's not a homeristic one anyways. Same thing when the All-Pro, awards were announced for after the NFL season. Bengals fans crying like you wouldn't believe. I can't believe Hendrickson, he look at all the sacks. He didn't get anything. I can't believe he's not on the. Are you putting him in over Myles Garrett or TJ Watt? No. Or, we could take Myles Garrett, TJ Watt out so that the guy on the second worst defense in the NFL could be in there? No. But you're Bengals fans, you're going to have your guys back. I have Myles Garrett's back. Justin has his Pittsburgh Steelers guys back. That's what we're doing here. But at the same time, I'm not just upset with those who believe that TJ Watt should have won it. That's fine. But the coward wasn't there to even accept the award had he won it. That's the problem I have with it. The childish entitlement, all of that. Like, it's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Willie Limmer says, what would the Steelers' record be without Watt or the Browns without Garrett? Well, again, I'm not going to sit there. The Browns have a better roster. The Browns could have won some additional games without Myles Garrett, but they're not a top 10 defense without Myles Garrett. And I'm not going to sit there and prop TJ Watt up just because your team refuses to try to enhance the roster to try to, I don't know, reflect what actual good teams look like that actually have a chance to win a Super Bowl every year. And again, another Steelers fan taking their team's side, going to defend them, and that's totally fine. What you guys can hear what you want. I'm agreeing with you with how dominant TJ Watt is. And had TJ Watt won the award, I wouldn't have cracked this mic today and gone on this little soliloquy that I'm going on now. I would have been like, yeah, I would have had Myles win it, but, TJ Watt's good too. This is not so much about the awards or whatever. It's about his crappy personality. The temper tantrum that he is literally throwing, it was childish. And then to make everything about him, to take the attention away from Myles or whoever could have potentially won it. Like, that's all anyone was talking about. Everyone knew Myles won it because he basically tweeted it out an hour before the show started. That's the problem. Willie Limmer, great dude. Oh, well, okay, cool. Oh, I mean, fantastic, super, awesome. Of course, you would think that, and that's totally fine. Fantastic, great dude. Man, I wish I had kids so that I can act like Willie here and say, hey, kids, I need you to pay attention to TJ Watt. When you don't get your way, I need you to throw a temper tantrum, okay? That makes you a great dude. Oh, you're not going to win the award? Don't even go. Don't even go. Oh, you're not going to win the game? Why even play? Not going to be good this year? Call me when we're good. I'll play then. Good dude. Whatever. Anyways, Willie, you are slandering a good person. Willie, remember what I told you a while back? Let's just be real here. I'm slandering a good person. I'm giving my opinion on his childish behavior. By the way, a lot of people who aren't fan of the Steelers giving their same opinion on him. It's okay. And why do people do this? Why do people have to defend athletes like this that wouldn't even stop to help put your house out if it was on fire? Like, that's the thing. Like, not what these athletes don't give a rip about you. Why do we have to get so defensive of these guys that don't give two rips about you? It's okay. You don't have to die in their honor. It's just creepy cult-like behavior. Is what it is. Willie, do you know him? Do you know him? Everything I'm saying is based off of how he acted last night, sir. It's as simple as that. Stop fanboying out on the page here. My gosh, you're drooling. I hope you need to wipe that phone off so you don't, ruin it. Is what it is. You are slandering a good person. My gosh, I need to give out the dumbest, post of the day award. I think that would win every single day. Anyways. David Shaw, how did he know he wasn't going to win? So how do we know why he truly missed the show? I'm asking. I don't have a dog in the fight and all that as far as that's concerned. First of all, they talked about it. A couple of his teammates even talked about the fact that he knew he wasn't going to win, so that's why he didn't show up. I watch him before games. Okay, sounding more creepy, but okay, cool. Keep it going. We could do this all day. Anyways. You're making me in a bad mood on a Friday. It's beautiful outside. I just got to get through the next 2.5 hours of the show. I can go outside. I can't wait. So I'm not going to let y'all bring my mood down. The bottom line is Myles Garrett was just better. Get over it. Boo-hoo. And Trey Hendrickson, you know what? If the Bengals were not the second worst defense in the NFL, I would have voted for Hendrickson over TJ Watt too, because that's how freaking good Hendrickson was this season. So, and by the way, if you guys think I'm going to bury Hendrickson because you guys think I hate the Bengals, no. Remember I told you a while back when the Bengals signed Hendrickson, I said that was a big stretch. You overspent on him. He's had one good year. I've said on multiple occasions. I was wrong about Trey Hendrickson. I actually really like Trey Hendrickson. I would love him on the Cleveland Browns. I'm a big fan of Hendrickson. That was actually a very good get for Duke Tobin and the Cincinnati Bengals. No doubt about that one. All right. Other awards too.
that got handed out last night. Let's go down. So again, I have never cared about the Comeback Player of the Year award. And I really don't care that Joe Flacco won it. Joe Flacco's 5-week run with the Browns was absolutely insane. It was like, NBA fans, if you remember when Jeremy Lin came onto the scene, the Linsanity, it's kind of what it reminded me of. Now, it's not really the same because Joe Flacco is, he's won a Super Bowl. He's a veteran quarterback. He has that experience. Lin kind of came onto the scene out of nowhere and kind of took the world by storm a bit. But look, him winning the Comeback Player of the Year award turned into this weird thing about Damar Hamlin. And what people are doing is they're trying to trick you into sounding insensitive so they could discredit what you say, because people do it to me when it comes to Damar Hamlin all the time. The bottom line is me saying that I think Joe Flacco should have won the Comeback Player of the Year award because he came back and was actually good at football. That's not me saying, oh, I'm not impressed with the guy that basically passed away on the field and then came back to life later. That's just a life win. That, why does it have to be, oh, your sports opinion means that you're not happy that he made it through the thing? Like, you guys are garbage that actually try to spin it that way. The bottom line is are we, we're just going to let the emotions of the fact that he came back to play football and just automatically hand it to him. So it doesn't matter that, he wasn't good. It doesn't matter that he was a healthy scratch. The team didn't want to cut him because they figured, oh man, look how horrible we're going to look if we cut this guy or whatever. I mean, why else would he be a healthy scratch for what I'd say 60-70% of the season? Damar Hamlin should not have won that award. In fact, he didn't win the award, but he shouldn't even have been second in voting. Actually, he technically had more votes, but because Flacco had more second and third place votes and all this stuff, that's why these award shows are just absolutely silly to begin with. As far as that's concerned, all the different stages of voting and all this stuff. But Damar Hamlin was a fantastic story. He was not the Comeback Player of the Year. He was back on a roster. That's the story. But he's not the Comeback Player of the Year. I also think that the way they have that whole award kind of defined is kind of silly to begin with, because you can't tell, like Baker Mayfield. Everyone's like, oh, I bet you wished he would have won it. No, I don't think Baker Mayfield should have been the Comeback Player of the Year. What did he come back from? Being bad? Like that's, they need to have a most improved award like that. You know what I mean? I am not a fan. People thought for sure, oh, Kinner, I bet you want Baker Mayfield to win it. No. What did Baker come back from? He was with the Panthers, then got released, then goes to the Rams. Then, all this. He had a horrible season the season before. Oh, but he came back and played really, really well. That's not a Comeback Player of the Year candidate to me. He was, but I think we're confused by what this award actually is and all of that stuff. Again, the Damar Hamlin thing is a fantastic story. It has a great happy ending. It has all that, right? But at the same time, just because of a freak accident on the football field and you come back to make a roster where you weren't good enough to actually play, you were a healthy scratch for most of the season, that doesn't mean you win Comeback Player of the Year. You kind of got to play to win Player of the Year, not, guy on a roster of the year award. Oh, you're heartless. No, I'm not. It's just common sense. We all fell for the entire, players go down on the field all the dang time. The world doesn't stop for every single time that happens. There was a guy that actually got killed on an ice rink and had his neck cut with one of the dang skates. Everyone went on with their day. Everyone went on with their life. The Damar Hamlin thing happened. Everyone wanted to shut down. No school tomorrow. We're going to, what are we doing? Things could be tragic and the whole world doesn't have to come to a complete stop. And the overreaction to that just continued on to this. It was just wild to me. It was just wild to me that it snowballed into that. It is what it is. Joe Flacco. So Myles Garrett, he beats that bum TJ Watt to win Defensive Player of the Year. Shout out to Myles Garrett. Shout out to Crybaby TJ Watt. Shout out to the Crybaby Steelers fans who are actually acting as if this is some kind of big scandal that led to him not winning the award. A boo-hoo. All right, let's see. Next up, Assistant Coach of the Year goes to Jim Schwartz. No doubt about it. The Browns, one of the worst defenses in the NFL the season before. Atrocious defensively. I thought that you get Jim Schwartz. Maybe, he's going to make them one of the worst defenses in the NFL to just get them to be right there in the middle of the pack at the very least, please. He didn't just do that. He made them the number one defense in the NFL. I think that was a no-brainer.
That was a no-brainer. And then the other one that I wasn't sure about was the head coach of the year, the coach of the year. For me, of course, I'm going to go with Kevin Stefanski, but I'm a big fan of what the guy with the Houston Texans did over there too, because that team actually, I mean, they won the division. They had a rookie quarterback. They were not projected to be they were projected to be right at the top of the draft again this upcoming season. There was people thought when the Texans drafted CJ Stroud that there was a good shot that they were going to be able to get, Marvin Harrison Jr. because they anticipated that the Texans would be drafting in the top 5 again this upcoming season. So the fact that they were able to win that division with a rookie quarterback, and it's really not that sexy of a roster, and they beat a lot of really good teams. I mean, when they beat the Bengals, it wasn't the Bengals post Joe Burrow. I mean, CJ Stroud beat Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. I mean, not a lot of that's tough to do. So I would have been fine had, the Houston Texans coach won it. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Could someone help me out? I literally say his name every day on the show, and now I'm just drawing a blank because it's one of those days, I guess. But Kevin Stefanski, I just thought with 4 different quarterbacks, half your entire offensive line is out. You lose Nick Chubb, your best player. Your starting quarterback's out for pretty much the entire season. There were so many excuses for why this team should have just been absolutely atrocious. And they won 11 games. They made the playoffs. Didn't have they had an unceremonious exit from the playoff, no doubt about it. But yes, I think that whether it was the Texans head coach or Kevin Stefanski, I was happy with whoever was going to win that. I wasn't going to act like a Steelers fan and throw a temper tantrum because my God didn't win it. So, D'Amico Ryan, thank you, Ryan Strong. I appreciate it. Willie, can you speak without name calling? Willie, you are a gaslighting, annoying individual that does your best to poke people's buttons. And then when they go at you, you do this whole, you're acting like a child thing. I don't block people on Facebook. I just don't like you. I'm just being 100% honest. I do not care. And it's not because you have different opinions than me. You're a very arrogant, sanctimonious individual who continuously attacks me on social media constantly. But I'm the dummy because I interact with you and I should just learn to ignore you. But gaslight all you want. Make me be the bad guy all you want. I'm just telling you, it ain't going to work. You're getting a reaction, but it ain't going to work, okay? Just letting you know as far as that's concerned, nonetheless. But D'Amico Ryans, to go back to that, yes, had he won Coach of the Year, would have been completely fine with it. He did a heck of a job. In fact, if there was ever a year to do co-Coach of the Year and all that stuff, that's the year to do it. You know what I mean? But, yeah, so the Browns, is what it is. I don't really care about those awards, though, because I can't take – in fact, is this the first year that they've done a ceremony? I don't ever recall tuning into this thing. So I can't sit there and act like I truly care about these regular season awards, because at the end of the day, it's one of them situations where I'm only interested in it because my team actually had a lot of guys that were represented in this when it's all said and done. However, it's just kind of one of those situations where I probably won't tune in next year unless, Deshaun's up for MVP or something, or, when Myles Garrett knocks off crybaby TJ Watt again because he's just simply better, something like that. I might tune in for that next year. Just for that very reason right there, nonetheless. All right, Lamar Jackson was named the MVP, and now there's a lot of drama because there's one particular writer who did not vote for Lamar Jackson to win MVP, and now Stephen A. Smith and everyone, they're upset. They're questioning the credibility of this particular writer. Fair or foul? We'll be right back. It's the Kinner Kev Show here on a Friday. Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using hair growth saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try hair growth today to feel and look your best. Just go to newnordicusa.com or visit Walgreens or Amazon to purchase. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at newnordicusa.com.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save on bulk purchases of select insulation from trusted brands like Green Fiber. And there's more. Save 10% when you buy 6 or more select interior pre-hung and slab doors. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Hey, it's Keith Byers. Tax season is here, and I'm sure you're thinking about who is going to do my taxes. Try my friends at Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle. Call Michael and Justin today at 937-543-5770. They're ready to serve you at 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. Arrowhead Tax Service gives back to the community through athletics and nonprofits. And all new clients save 10% off online at arrowheadtaxservice.com, where their target is your satisfaction.
Hurry into Menards and stack up great savings on fiberglass insulation from Kinner. Did you know the attic is a home's #1 source of heat loss? Adding fiberglass insulation to your attic is an effective way to prevent heat loss in your home. A properly insulated home can save you up to 15% on your utility bills, all while increasing your family's comfort. Insulate now and save big money at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Meeting out for the big game? We have the total experience waiting for you at Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps. Multiple big screens, a huge selection of beers, and the subs, pizzas, and wings you crave. Meet at Milano's this Sunday in Beaver Creek, Miami Township, or Brown Street, Dayton.
Texting enrolled you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Nice run. It's great being back out on the mountain. You sort of disappeared for a while. Everything okay? Between you and me, it was lower testosterone. Lower T? Yeah. The doc told me once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to stay in shape. That's why I started taking Nugenix Total T. It's made a huge difference. Oh, I've seen that on TV. Is it for real? For sure. It's the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster. It boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. My wife, my boss, my kids, everyone has noticed a change in me. Do they still give out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves? Yes. Just send them a text.
Guys, text HATCH to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC and Walmart. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back in shape fast, absolutely free. Text HATCH to 321-321. That's HATCH to 321-321.
Looking for sweet heat that's hard to beat? Head to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and try the Hot Honey Chicken Sandwich, here for a limited time. This all-new sandwich features our famous hand-breaded, pressure-cooked chicken breast covered in Mike's Hot Honey on a brioche bun. It's the chicken sandwich made sweeter and spicier. Discover the craveable flavor that can only happen when Mike's Hot Honey meets Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Pick up an irresistible Hot Honey Chicken Sandwich today. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
All right, and we are back. It's the Kinner Kev Show here on a Friday. Kev Nash in Vegas. spending some time there for the Super Bowl. He's actually pretty fortunate. He has family that lives there. So like when you don't have to pay for the stay, that just totally opens up the door for a lot, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, those Super Bowl tickets are $7,000-8,000. If he's able to afford $7,000-8,000 tickets to go to a Super Bowl, I think I need to start digging into what he makes versus what I make. It's just worth throwing out there. But nonetheless, no. But I know he's having a good time out in Vegas. How could you not? How could you not? Again, happy Friday. We welcome you back. Ryan Strong says, I love this version of Justin today. Yeah, well, people say, you have to have thick skin when you do this job. Some days my skin's pretty thick. Other days I let the troll people like Lil Willie over here get under my skin. He won today. He won. He's victorious. He's wrong, but he's victorious because he got the reaction out of me that he was trying to get. But, Willie goes on to say, your show has nice balance when Kev is there. I guarantee your tone would be different if he was there today. Lil Willie, listen, when Kev is here, we go back and forth all the time about the Steelers. I question all the time I think it's great that Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, but I also think that that his ego of wanting to never have a losing season at the expense of maybe, sending some pieces away, rebuilding, maybe getting that quarterback at the top of the draft instead of hoping that you're going to strike with the Ben Roethlisberger late in the draft again. Like, we have those conversations all the time. So again, I'm sure you experience this in life a lot, but you're wrong. So, but thank you for trying. You were trying so hard today, trying so hard. Anyways, but nonetheless. All right. Where are we with this stuff too? I know I wanted to get into the Trey Hendrickson conversation just a little more because I see that he's also trending on the old Twitter machine. Let me ask you this, like Drew Garrison. I know Drew. He says lots of very upset Steelers fans on the timeline. Over TJ Watt. Trey Hendrickson deserves a defensive player of the year vote over that guy. This is a anti-Bengals take that has absolutely zero trolling effort in it, I promise you. But this is why Bengals fans, you need to be a little upset with how this past season went, and it wasn't because of the Burrow injury. Like, as I'm watching what the Browns did last night, like Kevin Stefanski winning Coach of the Year. He wins Coach of the Year because of everything that they were able to overcome. The Bengals couldn't overcome their star quarterback being out. Kevin Stefanski was able to overcome 3-4 different quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a shot, all right, at the Bengals. But what it does is show you that they have a lot of deficiencies. You guys think that, it's just we were missing Joe Burrow. We get him back, we'll be fine. You get Joe Burrow back, you'll be better. But it is kind of odd to me. You watch the Browns and all the awards that they won last night, the assistant coach of the year, because they were so inconsistent on offense with all the injuries. The dominant side of the ball was their worst side of the ball the season before, and yet they won games and made the playoffs because of that side of the ball. They overcame the stuff on the offensive side. That's why he wins Coach of the Year. Assistant Coach of the Year. Kevin Stefanski wins Coach of the Year because he navigated the offense through 4 different quarterbacks, half the offensive line out, one of the best offensive lines in football. You lose the best running back in football in Nick Chubb, and you still somehow, some way have a top 10 run game in football. You still somehow, some way are scoring about 25 plus a game. So with all of that being said, the Browns were better equipped to overcome adversity. The Bengals were not. And overcoming Joe Burrow being out. I mean, I know you won some games and you missed the playoffs by a game, but the thing is, you want to talk about Trey Hendrickson not getting defensive player of the year votes and all this stuff. It's kind of hard for the national media and people outside of Bengals country over here to latch on to Hendrickson when he's doing dominant things on the second worst defense in the NFL. I've always compared it to, you go look at the worst team in the NBA, find the guy that's averaging 28 points per game on the worst team in the league. That guy's not being viewed as, man, he's one of the best scorers in the league. It's, that's a guy that's putting up a lot of points on a bad team. You know what I mean? Now, football's a little different. It's still his individual talent that's ripping through the defense or the offensive line and getting to the quarterback. And all of that. But I'm a big fan of Trey Hendrickson. But the Bengals, they got to do better, man. They got to do better. It's not just, we get Joe Burrow back, we'll be fine. You get Joe Burrow back, you'll be better, but you're not fine. Because Josh Allen, I mean, let's talk about the quarterbacks that Joe Burrow is up there with, right? Like the Patrick Mahomes and the Josh Allens of the world. Patrick Mahomes is in a Super Bowl right now without any wide receivers and a really good tight end. You know what I mean? Like that, he has no good receivers. He has an elite tight end, a good offensive line, and a solid run game, but he's there because of that defense. You know what I mean? Like they're there because of that defense. It's as simple as that. Joe Burrow doesn't have a defense. Second worst defense in the league. Patrick Mahomes has Pacheco in the run game. Joe Burrow had the second worst run game in the National Football League. The Cincinnati Bengals did technically. And that's wild because I thought when Joe Burrow got injured and went out, I thought that we would see the run game for the Bengals improve because at the beginning, I'm like, well, the Bengals' average run game numbers have a lot to do with the fact that they're a passing offense. They're going to put so much, even though you want to balance the pass with the run, they don't emphasize the run. You could still have a balanced offense without emphasizing the run, and the Bengals did not emphasize the run. But when Joe Burrow went out, I thought that we would see the running game improve, and it just didn't. I mean, you had a couple good weeks, but it never improved consistently. That's why they finished with the second worst rush attack. So the bottom line is be frustrated with your team because they owe you this offseason. They owe you them being aggressive on defense. You know, last year there was a lot of talk about moving on from Jesse Bates and Bell. The talk last offseason was about the players you didn't bring back, and I don't think it's a coincidence that you don't bring a couple of those star players back from that Super Bowl run, and now they have the second worst defense in the league. All right, the run game, Joe Mixon, you gave him the ultimatum, take a pay cut or we'll cut you. Well, you shouldn't even give him the ultimatum. You should have just cut him, and you should have put more emphasis on the run game in the offseason. I'm fascinating to see what the Bengals do as far as the run game is concerned this offseason. You know, there's Derrick Henry. There's some big names floating around. I don't expect the Bengals to get a Derrick Henry, but, you know, it would be interesting to see just how much they're going to prioritize fixing some of those issues this upcoming offseason. And it can't be like you're going to learn about the Bengals this offseason and how aggressive they plan on being moving forward. Because if their solution is, well, we got to pay our top guys and we're just going to attack everything through the draft, that's a scary world to live in if you're a Bengals fan. They need to be aggressive in some capacity as far as that's concerned because they got to fix that run game. They don't have to go from the second worst run game to a top 5 run game, but they can't be the second worst run game in football, even with Joe Burrow, and expect to be the Super Bowl contending team that you guys think that they are. But I'm here to tell you, you guys keep thinking that, oh, Joe Burrow, if we would have had him, we would have been fine. You're not winning a Super Bowl with the second worst defense and second worst run game in football. I don't care how good you think Joe Burrow is. Patrick Mahomes on the Cincinnati Bengals. He's better than Joe Burrow. You put Patrick Mahomes on this Bengals roster right now with no run game and no defense. I promise you his 5-6 straight years in the AFC Championship game and his third, fourth, his Super Bowl run, all that comes to an end. That's not a shot at Burrow. That's a shot at your team and the roster management. As far as that's concerned, that should be a concern. But I won't continue piling on, mainly because of the fact that, let's wait to see what they do in the offseason as far as that's concerned. But we shall see. I do know what Josh Jacobs, there was a mock-up the other day of, free agents where they could potentially end up, or some trades in the offseason that Josh Jacobs and the Bengals make a lot of sense. Absolutely. Look, any good running back out there makes sense for the Cincinnati Bengals, but it's all going to come down to, value, financial value. How, that's really what it's going to come down to when it's all said and done. No doubt about it. All right. It's Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's talk a little college basketball. UD in action tonight. Wright State. Some of you, you guys want to troll me about Wright State. That's fine. That's fine. I give it to your team. You can give it back. It's okay. I'm just glad that they won. But that's some scary stuff when you have an 0-24 team coming in. Me and Kev talked about that earlier in the week. He said I wasn't worried about it. I told you guys I was terrified about that game. You don't want, especially when you get into the 0-20s, you don't want to face a team that hasn't won a game heading into February. That's some terrifying stuff. And now I think we got to go to Detroit coming up. I'm calling the games this year, obviously. So, they came here. So, I know we have to go to Detroit coming up. I think not this week, but next week. So, I'm worried about that one, too. They got some big, they got Oakland. I was more worried about Detroit than Oakland. Oakland's the number 1 team in the league. Or number 2 team now. I think they lost to NKU last night, but nonetheless. Talk some college hoops, shall we? It's Kinner Kev Show here on a Friday. We'll be right back.
listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
Give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Bring the Dayton tradition to your Sunday party and save. Order Milano's online and use the code BIGGAME10 for $10 off any $50 or more order. That's code BIGGAME10 for $10 off at MilanoSubs.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through March 4th, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic and an oil filter for $36.99. Only at AutoZone.
Claim based on Sequence 3H test versus API SP test limits.
If you're looking for a new couch, you could cut down on expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Because you know you've had this couch for too long. Sure, you've had good times together, but a ripped-up cushion is not a fond memory. It's a sign. Notice how other people have couches with 2 armrests? Now that's living, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new couch. Please, it's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Whether we're in your home for a new McAfee installation, a scheduled maintenance, or a repair, you can count on McAfee to do what we say we'll do when we say we'll do it. We care about the services we provide and the products we install in your home, tailor-fitting our work to your family's needs through the entire process. We stand behind what we do, and we're proud to put our name on it. Breathe easy, choose McAfee, or have a cow.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting, serving this area's tax and accounting needs for over 80 years. Tax season is here. We invite you to discover how we can make your tax filing experience easier. Our professional staff assures your return is accurate with maximum use of legitimate deductions. Since our founding, we have been trusted because of our knowledge of the tax code and for standing behind your return if the IRS calls. Contact us at 937-325-6571. Information at lairdstax.com.
Save $104 on select sets of Ford No-Key and tires now through February 17th. Only at AAA Tire and Auto Service. Details at AAA.com/mycar.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, and we are back. It's Kinner Kev Show here on a Friday. Let's see what it's. I guess we're approaching that mid-February time, and I guess bracketology talk is allowed, right? Right. Joe Lenardi, his latest bracketology update, it hit earlier this morning. Right now, it looks like Dayton's in that 4 seed range. I mean, they're at a 4 seed right now in his latest bracketology report to kind of give you an idea of the mix of teams that Dayton's in with. I mean, you look at some of the other 4 seeds, according to Joe Lenardi, Baylor is a 4 seed. So right now, if this was, this is the bracketology that came out today. If this was the bracket, if this was what it looked like on Selection Sunday, Dayton a 4 seed taking on 13 seed Louisiana Tech is who he has, interesting. But he has Baylor as a 4 seed. Who are his other 4 seeds? Oh, Duke as a 4 seed, and then Iowa State as a 4 seed. So Duke, Iowa State, Baylor, and Dayton are the 4 seeds. And, everyone has a take of, okay, how high up can they move, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, or what have you. I think for Dayton right now being in the 4 seed conversation is pretty damn impressive. I mean, obviously they only have a couple losses. It's not like they have a lot of losses, of course, but they also don't play a lot of really good teams. That's not a hot take. That's just common sense. It amazes me the common sense takes that are. I always have to put a disclaimer out because I'm worried that people are going to get upset. I remember years ago when the debate about Obi Toppin. Or who was the big old kid from Iowa? Kevin, I just talked about him the other day. It was the race for the player of the year. Obi ended up winning it. And I felt Obi should have won it. I had no problem with Obi winning it. But all the Iowa fans that believe that their guy should have won it because they played a better conference. They were going up against top 25 teams every single night. So he was putting up dominating numbers against bigger, better teams. I kind of agreed with their take a little bit. Like, it wasn't that I didn't want Obi to win it, but in Dayton, everyone was rolling their eyes at that stuff. And I'm like, why are we rolling our eyes at stuff that just makes sense? Like, Obi was dominating A10 players while the kid from Iowa was dominating Big Ten players. Now, I might be oversimplifying that, and I'm not saying Obi shouldn't have won it. All I'm saying is it just amazes me when common sense logic is used. Luke, the Garza kid, you're right. Ryan Strong, you're coming through in the clutch a lot today. Thank you. But yeah. Like, again, I'm not like pro Garza as far as that's concerned. It's not like I'm saying that he should have won it, but the arguments that they were making made a lot of sense. And they're the same arguments that you would have made had the roles been reversed. Had there have been another player from a smaller conference in the position to win player of the year, you would have probably thrown out the same thing. So common sense takes there. But again, I always have to be worried because some of you guys lose your dang mind and throwing out the disclaimers out there as far as that goes. So Dayton, for them, where is John Ortez? Where is he at now? What does that matter? What does that mean? He's not in the NBA. Garza's not. Obi is. But I don't know what that. But see, that's that fan sensitivity. I just said it's common sense that they were using, and I understood what they were trying to say. I'm not saying that he should have won it. And see, again, I'm getting into like this is why the disclaimers go out there. I got to learn to just act like you guys don't exist, but I tried to. I want to interact with you. Just some of you lose your dang mind sometimes. The bottom line is, as far as Dayton's concerned, a 4 seed right now is a 3 seed as high as they can go. I mean, what's the highest do you Dayton fans believe that they can move up to? Because I think for them to move up further as far as seeding goes, and we're going to talk with Joe Lenardi here in the next week about this. He said, where is Garza playing? It's very simple. He's not in the NBA, but it doesn't matter about the NBA. It was about college basketball. Tyler Hansborough is one of the best college basketball players I've ever seen. Couldn't cut it in the NBA, although he did have a little NBA run. But the point is I don't know what your NBA example. I mean, that's too simplistic. And if anything, your obsession with the NBA also highlights why how has Dayton not done more when you had 2 NBA talents on the roster last year and couldn't win a one bid conference. So, John, we can argue all day. We could do this all day. So, as far as that's concerned, Dayton's going to need help to move up. But there's nothing wrong with being a 4 seed. I mean, I just told you the teams that they're in the mix with. I saw a lot on social media today of fans kind of saying, well, it's frustrating. They should be able to move up to a 2 or whatever. I'm like, you felt disrespected by being at a 4. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with being a 4 seed. Baylor's a 4 seed. Duke's a 4 seed. All right, Iowa State's a 4 seed. Like, Dayton's going to get – I mean, when you got to play a double-digit 13 seed in the opening round of the tournament, you should be fine. You should be fine. I mean, that's about the equivalent of what you're playing in your dang A10 conference to begin with. You should be fine as far as that's concerned. They do have a big one tonight coming up against VCU. That's a 7:00 tip-off. How about this? So according to Joe Lenardi with his latest bracketology report, I'm not a big fan of the first 4 teams that he has listed so far. The 16 seeds, North Dakota and Grambling State, and then NC Central and Merrimack. The 16s are never the sexy ones anyways, but Washington State, Seton Hall, but Cincinnati, he does have Cincinnati listed, in the first 4 as a 10 seed going up against Mississippi State. We've been fortunate over the years. I mean, we've seen Michigan, Wright State's made it. Dayton's played in it. There's been some big teams. Indiana played in it a few years ago when they played Wyoming. So like there have been some big teams that have played in the first 4 as far as that's concerned. But nonetheless, I would like to see Cincinnati get there. They've picked up a couple big wins since getting over to conference play nonetheless. But as far as the first 4 out, St. John's, Wake Forest, Colorado, and Nevada. I mean, you have your next, Providence, Xavier. So there's a lot of Ohio teams in the mix as far as the first four is concerned for the at-large bids. I will say this. So Wright State sitting in their conference right now, obviously it's a one-bid league. There's no auto. I mean, there's no at-large bids. It's all autos, okay? They would have to win their league, and they've done it quite a few times under Scott Nagy, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do it again this season. The top four teams all separated by a game and a half right now, so I'm really not going to say that any team is head and shoulders better than them. They have a good shot, but with what they do, what he does with these mid-major conferences like this, the auto bids, he's putting them in. The Horizon League is getting a 16 seed. The Horizon League, obviously, not very respectable against some of the other conferences out there. So he's giving them that 16 seed treatment. All I'm saying is if Wright State can continuously win their conference tournament on a semi-regular basis, I don't think it's out of the question to look at them as sometimes a regular first four team. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. Proximity, of course, at times matters. I was surprised that they put them there last time. But if they're going to be in that 16 seed range, why not? Because the NCAA knows of ways to make money. That's one way to do it. And, of course, you could say UD Arena will be full no matter what. I've been to those 16 seed matchups. They're not always full for the 16 seed matchups. So keep that in mind as far as that's concerned. But Wright State tomorrow in action, they'll take on Oakland. Oakland ahead of them. They're second in the conference. Wright State fourth in the conference. A game separates the two. That's a 7:00 tip-off. Military Appreciation Night tomorrow night at the Nutter Center, 7:00 to tip off. So just keep that in mind as far as that's concerned. Let's see. John Ortez, didn't UD handle UC? Yeah, they did. You're such a big UD fan. Don't you know their schedule? Or are we just asking questions we know the answer to already? Matt Sturgeon says maybe a 3 seed, no higher. Realistically, 3 to 6 would be great. Justin, you were on fire today. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't see them being a 2 or a 1 again. I mean, that was wild a few years ago when they got up to that point, but they were also ranked a lot higher. I don't know how much higher Dayton could be ranked either. Like, I don't think Dayton will. I do not see Dayton being a top 10 team at any point this season. What's the high? I think 16th is is the highest that they've been ranked. They would need a lot of help. I mean, Dayton, they're going to be a top 25 team. So about 2 weeks ago, I said, I don't think they'll be top 25 by the time the tournament gets here, but with less than 10 games to go and the A10, it's just not very good. There is a good shot that even when teams have played Dayton tough, Dayton's won some ugly games, but they're winning, and that's all that matters, right? So as long as they keep winning, and again, there's so much parity in college basketball right now, they're going to have a shot to get a really good seed and still remain in the top 25 as far as that's concerned. Jody Van Winkle says ceiling 8, floor 21. I don't think they get in the top 10, but again, we're talking 8, let's say they get to 11. I mean, who cares at this point? But they would have to, they need big wins like this one on the road tonight against VCU. We shall see. Shaw says, when does the CBS top 16 come out? I feel like we should be close to that. They kind of treated that like the college football playoff reveal, right, Shaw? Where they kind of release the regions and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see when that time comes. I have no clue. I've never really cared about that in the past, but now that Dayton's kind of in the mix, it will be interesting to kind of keep an eye on where CBS projects them to be. I did spoke with Clark Kellogg today. He is going to be coming on the show here in the next couple of weeks as we get closer to the conference tournament. We're going to have him on as far as that goes. John says, I was there. I know they did. Of course, it's UD, right? You have a problem with that. Own it. What? I don't know why I give you guys this opportunity to get under my skin today. It is what it is. So nonetheless, Matt Sturgeon says, after the COVID year, I'm just enjoying the ride. Go Flyers, go Raiders, as far as that's concerned. But yeah. So like we talked about, Xavier, Cincinnati in the mix for the first 4, at least according to the latest bracketology report. It'll be interesting to see how many Ohio teams actually get in when it's all said and done. Ohio State, Chris Holtmann, he's going to survive the season, but man, oh man, I'm so bummed to see that he has regressed, or that things have not gone so well. I'm a big Chris Holtmann fan, as I've stated over the weeks, but man, I just don't see how he survives this, man. Like I just do not see that being the case as far as that's concerned. It's funny. I just saw this come out that I think it's 11 Warriors right here. Kev brought up Michi Johnson and some of the players, we talked about, like, because Chris Holtmann recruits really well. but those players end up leaving, like Michi Johnson and others. And when those players leave, it's not just that they leave because they're not any good. They're good players leaving, and they go on to be stars elsewhere. That's the problem, too, with Chris Holtmann, is that he's not able to get the most out of these guys. So that's going to be interesting nonetheless. All right. It's the Kinner Kev Show here on a Friday. We'll step away for a few moments. 518-1410 phone lines are open. I see a lot of you are commenting in the chat section on the side. I'll get to your responses in a moment. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast is calling for a slight chance of showers and 52 tonight. Rain and then partly sunny by afternoon, 59 Saturday. Mostly sunny Sunday and 49. I'm Rick Shrimp, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Now during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more. Up to $100. Ends 2/10. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Looking for sweet heat that's hard to beat? Head to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and try the Hot Honey Chicken Sandwich, here for a limited time. This all-new sandwich features our famous hand-breaded, pressure-cooked chicken breast covered in Mike's Hot Honey on a brioche bun. It's the chicken sandwich made sweeter and spicier. Discover the craveable flavor that can only happen when Mike's Hot Honey meets Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Pick up an irresistible Hot Honey Chicken Sandwich today. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Tax season is here, and I'm sure you're thinking about who is going to do my taxes. Try my friends at Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle. Call Michael and Justin today at 937-543-5770. They're ready to serve you at 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. Arrowhead Tax Service gives back to the community through athletics and nonprofits, and all new clients save 10% off. Online at arrowheadtaxservice.com, where their target is your satisfaction.
Whether we're in your home for a new McAfee installation, a scheduled maintenance, or a repair, you can count on McAfee to do what we say we'll do when we say we'll do it. We care about the services we provide and the products we install in your home, tailor-fitting our work to your family's needs through the entire process. We stand behind what we do, and we're proud to put our name on it. Breathe easy, choose McAfee, or have a cow.
Sometimes change is good. In this case, it's great. A new career is waiting. KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is hiring second shift production associates and offering an incredibly new pay rate of $21.24 per hour. This is an excellent opportunity that includes an attractive benefit package, medical, dental, and 401k. KTH offers the advantage of being a short drive from home, just minutes from Bell Fountain, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. The position will fill quickly, so please apply now at kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Meeting out for the big game? We have the total experience waiting for you at Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps. Multiple big screens, a huge selection of beers, and the subs, pizzas, and wings you crave. Meet at Milano's this Sunday in Beaver Creek, Miami Township, or Brown Street, Dayton.
Strong enough for a Mastiff, gentle enough for a Chihuahua. Invisible Fence brand is more than a fence with hands-on training and exclusive solutions to give your pet more room to run. Learn more at invisiblefence.com.
It's tax season. I don't know about you. I don't know how many of you out there. I mean, what's the earliest you go to get your taxes done? Do you guys go like right away, or do you procrastinate like I do? I think you could always tell who gets a nice tax return and who doesn't. I think the people who know they're going to get a lot, they go and get that taken care of. And the people that know that, maybe not, you just kind of wait to the last moment. I wait to the last minute every single year. I feel like this has to be the end. You know, I need to get ahead of it. I get some back. I just don't get a lot. I always do that. I like to have more money in my paychecks than getting that big tax return at the end. Just because then when it's in my paycheck, I could spend it. If I get a big old return, my wife wants to use it towards something in the house. So, I'm selfish with it. That's what it comes down to. But it is tax season. And if you're wondering who's going to do your taxes, how you're going to get your taxes taken care of this year, whether it's tax preparation, accounting, payroll, whatever it is, Arrowhead Tax Service over in New Carlisle. Michael Maxwell and Justin do a fantastic job. They're located at 113 West Jefferson Street in New Carlisle. All right. They use the taxes to go up as well, which is pretty cool because you could send them the information without actually having to go in. You would just have to go in to sign and pick up everything at a later date, but it's a way to just kind of get that process started. So I think that's pretty cool. They're locally owned, and they give back to the community with every paid return. So when you file there, I know every time I go, they take care of all of us here at Wing. They'll ask you, they'll have a bunch of little local, little charities or whatever that they'll put a certain percent towards as well. Not your money, their money. So they'll match that as far as that's concerned. So I think that's pretty cool. 25% off to all military, veterans, and first responders. You can call for a free estimate. The number for Arrowhead Tax Service is 937-543-5770. Give Michael Maxwell and Justin a call at Arrowhead Tax Service at 937-543-5770. arrowheadtaxservice.com. Let's see. Jeff, what up, Jeff? Jeff says he goes, I did mine yesterday. Got a whopping $180 back. Well, I was looking for an additional $0. I was about to be like, good for you. Heading to Cancun with that money. It's gas money, at least. Justin Smith. Justin, you're still listening. I appreciate you. You and Kev, two of the few Steelers fans I can stomach. I push it till the end because I always owe. That's why I'm saying you could tell the people that owe and the people that know they're going to get money, they go right away. The people that owe, let's push that bill off for a little bit longer. So Jody Van Winkle commenting on our Dayton conversation from a little bit ago. Most saying that Dayton is he goes, I'm not saying that Dayton is the 8th best team. But upsets happen, and I could see them going that high. Yeah, I think so. This goes back to earlier about what's the ceiling for Dayton in the rankings. It said I don't see them going much higher than 15. But the reason that they have moved up at times the way they have is because a lot of top teams keep losing, and it's kind of made it a little easy to move Dayton up. They've made it easy too because they're doing what they're supposed to. They're winning the games. They're also not playing good teams in the A10, so that gives them that advantage as well. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, Jody, as far as that's concerned. No doubt about it. Shaw says Holtman and Howard going to get fired. Yeah, I mean, Chris Holtman, Juwan Howard, and I don't like Michigan by any means, but I do like Juwan Howard, or did like Juwan Howard. I'm kind of bummed that didn't work out. It's kind of wild because a couple years ago when Memphis was taken off under Penny Hardaway, people expected a lot from Patrick Ewing when he was at Georgetown. Obviously, you look at this Juwan Howard situation at Michigan, but Penny Hardaway and Juwan were doing a great job. And then at that same season too, that things had started taking off. Patrick Ewing actually got Georgetown to the NCAA tournament. It just they never were able to build on that momentum. They just regressed after that. I love when alums go back to coach their teams, but it also, you go back to coach your team that you played for, and you have so many great memories there, and you felt the love as a player. But unless you go and win a national championship or consistently win, you risk your lasting memory at your alma mater being a bad one. I mean, now Patrick Ewing, he's always going to be remembered for what he did at Georgetown. But, right now, the recency bias, like, what have you done for me lately? Georgetown fans, they don't have that same, butterfly feeling about Patrick Ewing in their gut like they used to. Now they kind of brings them a little heartache. They're like, oh, crap, man, we were so bad under him. Not doing much better right now, but it's besides the point. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Grant coming back to Dayton. Everyone loved Anthony as a player. He comes to Dayton, was that coach of the year stuff, bad for a couple of years, but then, fans wanted him gone at the end of last year. I said it was warranted. The guy gets paid a lot of money to keep underperforming every single season. You had an outlier year with Obi Toppin, but this season proven that, okay, he could build. This is a completely different roster than the Obi Toppin roster, obviously, and they're top 25, and they're doing what is expected of this Dayton Flyers program. So he's back up off the mat, but it was one of those where it's scary when you go back to coach your alma mater because everyone loves you. Once a Flyer, always a Flyer is what they always say. You come back, you're remembered for what you did as a player. But the lasting memory of Anthony Grant will be when he gets fired if they continue underperforming under his watch, which they have done for 5 of the 7 years that he's been here. So it's always a risk when you go back to coach at your alma mater. So it stinks that Juwan Howard, part of a lot of great things of that, with that program, even the going all the way back, now they're celebrating that team and that type of thing. But man, Juwan's out. He's going to be out after this season. Chris Holtman's going to be out. Kevin and I have talked about who we think should be the next head coach for Ohio State basketball. As a young up-and-coming coach, who knows? But as I've stated before, it is one of those things where Ohio State gets a new athletic director. Okay, they get a new athletic director, and right away, and by the way, this athletic director and Bjork, who comes over from Texas A&M, it wasn't a coincidence to me that Texas A&M football, especially, they were known for just going all in with NIL. Millions and millions of dollars in name, image, and likeness deals left and right? That's how Jimbo was able to buy the highest ranked recruiting class ever years ago. And we thought Texas A&M was going to be the NIL team that was, it was going to be they were going to be the face of the turn of college athletics of, okay, this is how you do it moving forward. Now it all blew up in Jimbo's face. They even had a win over Alabama that they couldn't capitalize with, but it all kind of derailed from there. But Bjork was the athletic director there. He spearheaded that. He was fine with that. He comes to Ohio State, NIL takes over, and they have piecemealed a national championship contending roster and retained a lot of guys that were about to go make millions in the NFL to come back for one more season. Well, they were aggressive on the football side. I expect that they will be aggressive on the basketball side as well. And if they're not, we're going to learn about the direction of the Ohio State athletics program as a whole. Not just football, not just basketball, but as a whole. We know they're a football school. But in the changing climate of college athletics, we know football is prioritized over everything else. But we're about to find out just by how much. Because if they just go to some young up-and-coming coach and they throw out a little salary and say, hey, let's make Ohio State basketball interesting again, but we're not going to lose sleep over it. We're not going to bend over backwards to elevate the basketball program the way that we did with the football program. We're going to find out if that's the case. But we're also going to find out if they truly value basketball as much as football. It doesn't mean that they're a basketball school. I hate that, by the way. I hate that term. Oh, we're a basketball school. We're a football school. You should strive to be the best team regardless of the sport. It doesn't mean that you have to equally distribute the money amongst all those sports, but that's ridiculous that, oh, he doesn't want to coach there because it's a football school, as if you can't win there. We've seen Florida get to Final Fours and national championships and college football championships during the Urban Meyer era whenever, you know what I mean? Like, we've seen that. We've seen LSU do it. We've seen Ohio State do it when Thad Matta was there, when Tressel was there. They were getting to Final Fours and football national championships on the regular. So I hate that example. I really do. It doesn't make any sense to me as far as that's concerned. But, Chris Beard, if Ohio State goes out and gets Chris Beard to be their next head basketball coach, to me, that shows, we're going to be aggressive with everything. We're going to be aggressive with NIL and coaching practices and all that stuff. We're going to do all of that for basketball as well. But what I don't want to see happen is they move on from Chris Holtmann just to still be 1 foot in, 1 foot out of giving a rip about the basketball side. That would be my concern when it's all said and done. All right, it's the Kinner and Kev Show here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's go back to the comment section. Let's see what we got here. What up, Deborah? Or Deb, I'm sorry. You always say, don't call you Deborah. Deb. She goes, this is Deb. She's going back to our football conversation from earlier. Deb says, TJ Watt and Hendrickson are great defensive players that can't be argued. However, Garrett had a much better year and deserved to win the award, period. Justin, you are right about this. Watt is a squealer, and when things don't go their way, they cry, and cry some more. That was from my rant from earlier to open up the show about the fact that I thought it was pretty it was coward-like behavior of TJ Watt, who just assumed he wasn't going to win the award, doesn't go to the ceremony, puts out a tweet to basically kind of give it away, and made it all about him. People talked more about his crybaby tweet than about Myles Garrett actually winning the award, even though you had Micah Parsons, who was in the mix to win the award as well. He wasn't throwing a temper tantrum. In fact, he was defending Myles Garrett winning it. He even knew. He even understood. He wasn't delusional. So good for Micah Parsons and good for everyone, out there, stepping up and kind of understanding how this goes. Found this interesting. Players and coaches starting to talk about TJ Watt's actions. Andre Krim, Hall of Fame coach and player, had this to say about TJ Watt's tweet. Said that he's selfish. He took a special moment away, not only from Myles Garrett, but from all the other players that raised a trophy last night. Before the awards were even announced, he made it about him, which goes to show what kind of player and man he is. Now, is that more slander for some of you that are out there, or is that just people basing an opinion off of someone's actions? I'll go with the latter. So, nonetheless. All right, moving on to so there was other drama from last night too from those award ceremonies, which I found interesting. Lamar Jackson, we knew Lamar Jackson was going to be named the MVP. We knew it. But we kept saying he was going to be the first MVP, the first two-time MVP. He was going to be the first one to be a first two-time as far as being unanimous MVP, right? This never happened before. We've had guys who have won MVP multiple times. We've never had a guy win unanimous MVP twice. And Lamar Jackson came up short twice. Or he came up short by one vote. And Stephen A. Smith lost it on First Take earlier this morning, talking about I think it's Aaron Schatz is his name, the one voter out of 50 who didn't vote Lamar Jackson for MVP. Stephen A. Smith basically said it was an embarrassment. In fact, take a listen. This was Stephen A. Smith on First Take, just going in on Aaron Schatz, who is one of 50 who did not vote for Lamar Jackson as MVP.
Just wanted to say one thing. That one vote against Lamar Jackson, that jeopardizes why people talk about how sports writers shouldn't be voting. That was a stupid homer vote by that individual, probably scared to go back in the locker room if he had voted against 100%. Josh Allen. That compromises everything. You have to be objective when you have a vote. And that writer was, I don't know who the hell it was, but that's an embarrassment.
You're right about that. I'm a big Stephen A. Smith fan, but he's full of crap. What are we doing here? If anything, Lamar Jackson, his stats, they weren't that good. 29 total touchdowns on the season. It's been 2 decades since a player's won an MVP with less than 30 touchdowns in a season. He wasn't the best. He was the best running quarterback in the NFL, which we all know that. But he was he was a very, very good quarterback on the best team in football throughout the regular season. But to sit there and say that the Aaron Schatz is, that it's an embarrassment that he didn't vote for your guy, Lamar Jackson, or La Jackson, as you called him, because he was so quick to get that out. Absolutely insane. Lamar Jackson, the 2 most protected quarterbacks in the NFL today, the two quarterbacks that you're not allowed to criticize or you get called certain words when it comes to Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson's beyond protected. For a guy that's criticized a lot, he's beyond protected. You're not allowed to criticize Lamar Jackson. Yeah, but his throwing, he doesn't throw the ball. He's not the best passing quarterback. Oh, who cares? Who cares? Oh, but did you see Josh Allen overthrow that receiver? He's regressing. Oh, did you see Lamar overthrow 5 receivers in one game? Yeah, but man, he's special. What? What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, the thing is, and by the way, you want to know who the guy was that Aaron Schatz voted for to win the MVP? Josh freaking Allen. You know about Josh Allen, who actually threw for 20. He had 20 more touchdowns than Lamar Jackson, threw for thousands more yards than Lamar Jackson. Like, how is voting for him? Like, how does voting for Josh Allen to be the MVP this season, who had a great season, how is voting for him to be the MVP an embarrassment? The Bills won the division. They came back. Josh Allen, they switched offensive coordinators. Josh Allen went from turning the ball over left and right to taking better care of the football, was throwing for a ton of yards a game, throwing for a ton of touchdowns, was running the ball as well. They won their final 5 games of the season, of the regular season. How is voting for Josh Allen to be MVP something that is just an embarrassment to voters? That it was a homer. What does being a homer have to do with voting for Josh Allen? Josh Allen is a hell of a quarterback. I don't get this stuff. I just don't. Lamar Jackson, I have no clue. Okay, I have no clue why anytime people criticize him that they are just called so many different things. It's wild to me. It is wild to me that that is the case. Lamar Jackson is a very, very good quarterback. He's a 2-time MVP. But he's also a quarterback that has a lot of limitations and a lot of deficiencies. And a lot of those limitations and deficiencies, they are put on full display every year when the playoffs come around, when he's healthy enough to play in them. I don't think it's that crazy that a voter decided not to vote for him for MVP. What I am surprised about is that 49 people did, as far as that goes. So it's wild to me. Oh, good. Willie has more for me. It's the name calling I refer to when you speak. That's my point. Don't care. But why, Willie, why are you still talking at all? What are you, my therapist? Take a walk. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, you tell me all the things you don't like about me, then turn the damn show off. It's not that hard. No one's making you tune in. It's not that hard, dude. It really isn't. But going back to this, so Josh Allen this season, okay, you do the comparison. By the way, no problem with Lamar being the MVP. I have a huge problem when you look at his numbers and it's supposed to just be his right to win unanimous MVP. Doesn't make any sense. Josh Allen threw for 4,306 yards. He threw for over 1,000 yards more than Lamar Jackson. Better completion percentage. All right, more touchdowns. His team came from behind to win their division. Now, Lamar's team won the toughest division in football, which is why I'm fine with Lamar winning MVP. But this idea that nobody came close, that it's absolutely insane that somebody would actually vote for Josh Allen and not Lamar. Like, Stephen A., what are we doing here? What are we doing? That doesn't make any sense. Stephen A. says, people talk about how sports writers shouldn't be voting. That was a stupid homer vote by that individual, probably scared to go back into the locker room. What? So they're 49. Anyways, it is what it is. But I thought that was wild. Lamar Jackson, congratulations, 2-time MVP. You see when he stays healthy and he's out there for his team how special he could be. But we've also seen enough to know, we've seen enough to know his limitations as well. And the narrative with Lamar, no one's going to care about regular season wins with him anymore. It's just like what we've talked about with Peyton Manning in the past. When it came to Peyton Manning, we got bored with the regular season success. It was, well, what can you do when the postseason gets here? There are it's the chapters, right? Like CJ Stroud. When CJ Stroud went into, the playoffs this year, the fact that they beat the Browns, that was just a cherry on top of the season for CJ Stroud. Had CJ Stroud and the Texans lost, no one would have criticized Stroud. They would have just been like, man, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. statistically, and some may put him in that category now. Touchdowns, completion percentage, passing yards, all that fun stuff, leading his team to a division title as a rookie with not a whole lot of weapons. Let's be clear. Like, it's not the sexiest roster out there. Like, but people would have given CJ Stroud a pass had he lost the wild card round game to the Browns, because, hey, as a rookie, what you've done is impressive enough. Anything you give us in the playoffs is just a cherry on top, right? Like, that's how it works. But then next year, okay, you probably need to, if your team doesn't win, you at least need to perform really, really well. And then they lose next year in the divisional round or the wild card round. And okay, you get a pass, you're still great. But by year 3, we're kind of bored watching you throw for a lot of yards. We're kind of bored watching you throw for a lot of touchdowns in the regular season. We need to see that playoff magic. And we need to see that you're one of those it guys, right? That's where Lamar's at now. People were already at that with Lamar 2 years ago when he was healthy enough to play in the playoffs. But they fell short again, and he had a bad performance. And then people start questioning, okay, you're a great regular season quarterback, but is your style of play going to be good enough to elevate your team to win a championship? Because that, at the end of the day, is what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Nonetheless, it's Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hungry for a great time, maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits, Submarine House.
The Western Ohio Home Builders Association invites you to immerse yourself in a world of home improvement as experts gather to transform your ideas into reality at the Miami County Home and Garden Show, presented by 84 Lumber, February 16th through 18th at Hobart Arena in Troy. Discover the latest trends in all things home and garden. Our professional contractors and master gardeners are here to guide you through every step. Tickets are just $6. Visit MiamiCountyHomeshow.com for more details. And don't miss this ultimate home and garden experience.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting, serving this area's tax and accounting needs for over 80 years. If you have concerns about your tax return, we invite you to discover how we can make your tax filing experience easier. If you had a difficult experience in the past, our professional staff can provide the accurate return you want with maximum use of all legitimate deductions. Laird's Tax and Accounting is a trusted name and stands behind your return if the IRS calls. Contact us at 937-325-6571. Information at lairdstax.com.
Did you hear that?
No. What was that?
The clock is ticking to save at the Montgomery County Municipal Court Amnesty event.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. From February 16th to March 1st, the Montgomery County Municipal Courts are offering to waive half of your fines and costs if you agree to pay the other half. Visit either our Eastern Division in Huber Heights or our Western Division in Trotwood to save.
Don't delay. Amnesty is on the way.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more. Up to $100. Ends 2/10. Visit staples.com/print for details.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
And we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on a Friday, 518-1410, 518-1410, the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So yesterday we had the voice of the Cincinnati Reds, Tommy Thraw, on the program. We'll have that coming up for you around the corner if you missed it. But one thing we did not talk about was Jonathan India, but because there really wasn't much to talk about with Jonathan India. But there is now. Found this kind of interesting that the Cincinnati Reds avoid arbitration with Jonathan India after there has been so many rumors and talks of them potentially looking to trade Jonathan India. They get a 2-year extension done with them. I don't know what the numbers look like. But Jonathan India is one of those clubhouse leaders, if you will. And I think with how young this team is, especially, with moving on from Joey Votto, there's really not a whole lot of veteran presence on this roster. You have more experienced players than others. I mean, Jonathan India, an experienced player. Tyler Stevenson's pretty experienced. Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo heading into year 3, of course. Graham Ashcraft, these guys have been around for a few years, but they're not veteran guys to help lead the young guys in the clubhouse. Like, you kind of like that youthful, joyful vibe from this Reds team, but sometimes I do think it's very important that they have some guys who have kind of been in the weeds a little bit. So Jonathan India doesn't necessarily provide that, but he is a guy that the clubhouse does seem to gravitate towards, and I think that's big. When he has a big game, it elevates those around him. He just has that energy to him, and I'm a big Jonathan India fan. With how deep they are in middle infield, had they moved on from him, I would have understood, even though I don't think I would have been a huge fan of it, but I do like that they locked him down. It's one thing we could talk about the Reds needing to go out to get this guy, get that, and the other. But when they continuously do what they've done over the last couple of years, where they've developed star players, I think the key is locking in those star players, keeping them here for a bit. 2 years isn't a long time, but it does give them a little flexibility to where if they need to move on from him, there's a little mini window of team control for a team that desperately needs someone like India, especially in a playoff type push, as far as that's concerned. So, yeah, Ryan, I see that. So Ryan Strong says Cincinnati Reds and Jonathan India have signed a 2-year deal. Matt on YouTube, thank you for that. I saw that you sent that in during the break, so I did see that. Thank you. That, sometimes when the show starts, we don't see the breaking news that comes in throughout, so I appreciate when you guys do that, so thank you. Ron Howard says, talk Super Bowl. It is Sunday. So I opened up the show with this, and I asked, I threw the question out there, how excited are you about the Super Bowl on Sunday? How intriguing is this matchup to you? Is it intriguing at all? What is keeping it from being intriguing to you? I'm not going to lie to you. again, just because me taking the pulse of, the show, I just don't feel like the Super Bowl is like at the top of everyone's mind right now. At least the matchup. The Super Bowl itself is, because it's a gathering opportunity with your friends and family and all that type of stuff. But like, is this Super Bowl? Is there intrigue? Are you hooked? Or do you hate the Chiefs so much because that is your team's rival? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate your Cincinnati Bengals. You guys know this. That year that they were in the Super Bowl, it was so painful. It was so painful. Steelers fans can relate. Ravens fans can relate. Seeing you guys propped up, top of mind awareness, everyone talking about your team, it made it very difficult for me to enjoy that Super Bowl year, right? Being selfish, but I'm a fan just like you. That's why when you guys try to hold me to sports radio host standards, I'm like, that's what my title says I am, but I'm a fan just like you. The only difference between me and you is I have a mic in front of me and a boss that clearly doesn't pay attention. I mean, that's the biggest difference between me and you at home or in your car listening. All right. I'm a fan. I'm not going to lie to you. Oh, radios, you're media. You're supposed to be objective. You can call me media all you want, but I'm not a reporter. I'm a sports radio host. I'm paid to give my opinion. I'm going to give my opinion on whatever the hell I want to give my opinion on. As far as that's concerned, I hated when your team was in the Super Bowl. Hated it. I hated hearing, I hated how happy you guys were. I hated all the commercials. I hated all the imaging on ESPN radio. Tune in Tuesdays. Joe Burrow joins whatever stupid show he's going to join. And I turn it off. Don't want to hear his voice. I don't want to hear Joe Burrow's speech in Pat. I don't want to hear it. You have an underbite and overbite. Like, open your mouth when you talk, Joe. Like, it's not that hard. My goodness. He drives me nuts. See, I'm doing it again. I can't stand your team. So I bring this up because I feel like the way I feel about your team is how you guys feel about the Kansas City Chiefs. It's nauseating. You hate that team. You hate Patrick Mahomes. You hate Travis Kelce. You hate the Kansas City Chiefs because that's your rival, right? So, getting jacked up for a game to hype, to hear and to experience all the hype for a game that has the team that you look at and say, damn, our team should have beat you last year. And if we're healthy, we're probably good enough to beat you this year. Like, it's painful. I completely get it. I don't have that disdain for the Chiefs. My team's only come, cross paths with them once in the playoffs. And we were fortunate that there was no Patrick Mahomes and our team still couldn't capitalize. So that hatred for the Chiefs isn't there for Browns fans right now, but it's there for Bengals fans. And with all of you Bengals fans who tune into the show and in the area, I feel like that's the case. I feel like that's why I don't get the big game vibes from you guys tuning into the show right now. Am I wrong? Is the Chiefs being in the Super Bowl hard? Like, I keep seeing people say, man, if the Lions were in it, I wish the Lions were in it. Because no one cares about the 49ers. Sorry, David. I feel bad. I'm not talking about you. David M on YouTube. He's a big Niners fan. He goes, what's up, Justin? As a Niners fan, I'm chomping at the bit for Sunday. Let's go Niners. The entire world outside of our own fans are picking against us, and I love it. So my guy David M right here, big Niners fan, he's feeling the angst. He's excited. But why is it so quiet regarding the Super Bowl? I don't know. All right, we have grown men like Lil Willie over here who gets his man thong in a bunch if you say that his defensive player is garbage and all this stuff. There's passion there. There's no passion for the Super Bowl. Why is that? I don't know, but I'm following your guys' lead as far as that's concerned. David, the thing about the Niners that's interesting, so this is year 2 of Brock Purdy. The fact that you don't have to pay him for another year or 2 is just wild to me. Because they have a little bit of financial flexibility. It's so easy in the NFL to go get some skill position players. If you need to move on from Debo to get cheaper, like, they could do that. Like, the Rams set themselves up for a lot of future success if they choose to move on from Cooper Kupp to free up some cap space because, Puka Nacua, like, you draft a rookie receiver and you hope for the best. All right, I'm a Browns fan. We stink at drafting wide receivers. When they drafted David Bell, I was like, could this be a Puka Nacua type? Now, we didn't know who Puka was back in that time, but like, looking back, like, why can't my team do that? Why can't my team just draft some random wide receiver that the only attention that wide receiver gets is the little package that they make of the guy to highlight him when his name is called on draft night, and then everyone forgets about him? We saw the highlight draft package for Puka Nacua when the Rams got him. Then everyone forgot about him. Then 3-4 weeks into the season, we're like, who the hell is that guy? I like that guy. When's the next time our team's going to get that? The Rams got that. The Niners might have to, pull a trick out of there. They have to pull a rabbit out of a hat or something. They need to have some kind of trick to get by. But the Niners are going to be around for quite some time. They've been around for quite some time. They've been to a Super Bowl. They would have probably got back last year if they weren't so dang banged up. Ron Howard, this year's Super Bowl has too much glamour. Vegas, Taylor Swift doesn't feel like a real championship game. Is that the case? I mean, that's the case for Ron. I just mean, is that the case for everyone else listening? I mean, I don't know. If anything, I think that because it's Vegas and because there is a lot of glamour to it, I think that the matchup is kind of bleh, which is weird. This Chiefs team is dull. Outside of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, the wide receivers stink. The run game is good, but Pacheco's he's not like a household name. You know what I mean? The receivers aren't good. They're carried by their defense. It's wild that a team that is led by Patrick Mahomes is kind of dull. Their offense is very hard. They're kind of dull. You know what I mean? That's what's wild about this whole thing. And then the Niners, they have Debo and they have Christian McCaffrey and they have some cats, but again, two teams known for their defense, even though they have some offensive weapons. It is what it is. But I think when the game starts, it's going to be a hell of a game. But the build is kind of dull. Jody Van Winkle says, I'm pulling for the Chiefs. Lived in Kansas 4 years. Know the team. It's in Missouri, but same difference as far as that's concerned. Jody also says he's a big Bengals fan. He said he doesn't hate the Chiefs as far as that's concerned. Chase Carter, the Vikings got that guy when they drafted Diggs. Chase, are you a Vikings fan? Is that why you're saying that? Kind of just drafted a receiver that, people kind of looked at and said, oh, that's a good get, but didn't think that they were going to have one of the best receivers in football. Yeah. When the Bengals got Jamar Chase, there was a chance it could have not have worked out, but he is who you thought he was. Even when the Bengals got T. Higgins with that first pick in the second round of that year, they got Joe Burrow. You knew T. Higgins was going to be good, but the Browns get David Bell, nothing. They got Cedric Tillman last year. I was actually pretty excited about Cedric Tillman. And then I was just excited if he caught a pass wide open this year. It was just kind of hoping for the best. Yeah. Even the Vikings going out and getting Addison. That worked out great as well. That was a big get for them. Jackson Smith-Njigba, great get over there for the Seattle Seahawks. So, nonetheless, David M. responds, Bengals fans of a certain age will hate the Super Bowl because they hate Kansas City current day and hate San Francisco for beating them in 2 Super Bowls back in the 80s. I've had a few fans specifically tell me, but that's a great point. It's kind of a collision of generations for Bengals fans because you're right. Today's, the Chiefs, even though you don't play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but the postseason rivals that they are, meeting in the AFC title game. The Bengals getting a win in the AFC title game, the Chiefs getting it last year, and the Bengals going on to a Super Bowl, just barely coming up short. The Chiefs going on last year, just barely escaping with the Super Bowl. It's wild stuff, man. So Bengals fans hate the Chiefs, but the Bengals fans from back in the day hate the San Francisco 49ers when they see that logo. Takes them back. Yeah, that's a great point, David. That's a very good point as far as that's concerned. All right, coming up in hour number 3, we'll get back into our top of the hour headlines. We'll get back. This Chip Kelly thing is wild. It's wild. I really did like the Bill O'Brien edition as OC. But I'm not going to lie. I kind of panicked when they said he was going to leave because I'm there was a lot of strength, and especially when, Ryan Day said earlier in the week that he was going to give up play calling, and that was even with the reports of them potentially losing Bill O'Brien. It sounded like they were going to give up play calling no matter what. But Chip Kelly's better than Bill O'Brien. I love the fact that they got Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's good enough that he's kind of an insurance policy if Ryan Day craps the bed next year. I'm not advocating to get rid of Ryan Day, but we've seen what Chip Kelly can do with some resources, but he's never had this many resources. If Ryan Day doesn't find a way to capitalize on all this talent next season, I'm telling you, it's not a bad thing to have Chip Kelly just right there, just kind of waiting, saying, hey, I can take us from here. Be kind of interesting to see what this upcoming season is going to bring. I know it's saying just that there's reports that Ohio State's going to name him the OC. Obviously, I haven't seen a report that said that is for sure the case. but it sounds like all signs are pointing to that being the situation at hand. So that's pretty cool stuff. But we'll talk about that more in detail coming up around the corner. We'll also have our conversation, our Reds talk with Tommy Thrall coming up in hour 3. We have a lot to still dive into as we wrap things up here on a Friday. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
I'm Chelsea, and a little thing I like about the Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is I think it's just a perfect combination of ingredients. The pepper jack cheese and that spiciness of the sandwich. It's the right type of spice and the right amount of spice. It's crunchy on the outside, but then really tender on the inside. And then obviously the pickles on the bottom are iconic. There are too many things I like about it. I don't know if I can finish the thought.
Bring on the spice and order the Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's Keith Byers. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideals like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is